We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing this. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leo Mookie here, and I'm back for you with another new part of What If Izuku Was Isekai 2 Black Clover. This is part 20, and I won't gonna lie, it feels good to basically do this what if again. After all, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, I really do enjoy the concept of Izuku being sent to the world of Black Clover after all. See it as more as comfort, to be honest, than just for viewership. So, at any rate, with all that said, let's get into that of the necessary recap. In the last part, the Black Bulls, with the help of Noelle, made it underwater, using that of her sea dragon's lair to descend to the underwater temple. With Izuku and the other past users actually quite impressed with that of the, wildlife basically being similar to that of their world, but are basically affected by that of magic, mainly the mana in the area, with them making it in using that of Asta's anti-magic swords to break through the barriers, being massive water typhoons before arriving, seeing that there are actually people living in this mana zone dungeon, with the locals actually being quite, friendly with that of the Black Bulls, because normally they always get basically ridiculed for being considered the worst Magic Knight squad of all time, so yeah. Before arriving, meeting that of the High Priest of the Underwater Temple, Genfo, wanting to play that of a game with that of the Black Bulls. If they want the Magic Stone, they'll have to fight that of the 10 strongest mages within the Underwater Temple, as currently, Izuku, Asta, Magna, Luck, and Gauche basically defeated them without even breaking a sweat, showing that this isn't going to be as easy as those of the Underwater Temple thought it was going to be. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? After defeating that of his opponent, Izuku deciding to figure out where the others are, focusing on reconvening with each other instead of basically fighting separately. With him taking care of his own opponent makes it easier to focus on reuniting with the others and hopefully taking down their opponents together. With Izuku deciding to use that of the fourth user's grimoire, being that of sensing magic, checking everybody's magic and also their mana signatures, with then realizing, man, there's quite a bit. I mean, there's one with a huge amount of mana in nearing the center, actually, if I think about it. One on the very distant right, I'm thinking that's Miss Noelle, and two are heading into the center. If I'm thinking, since one of them is a huge burst of mana as well, and seems erratic, that's definitely Luck. And that one, hot-tempered, definitely Magna, as he also located on where Gauche, Finral, Vanessa, Charmy, alongside Finral, and Gray are actually. However, he can't sense Asta, which makes sense because dude has no mana or magic after all. So it'd be really harder to find that of his, well, fellow Short King after all. With Izuku rushing through that of the corridors, thinking this place is like a labyrinth. If I didn't have this magic, I think I would not even know where the others would be. I think I'd be wandering around in the dark. With then the fourth user, Shinomori, spoke up saying, focus on what you need to do. Fearing since we have to basically play with that old fool's games, you need to basically work with the others, defeat your opponents, and win this game. With Banjo going, Shinomori's right, Deku. Focus on reuniting with your Magic Knight allies. Take out that of their opponents together, and you'll be able to win this easily. With Asta hearing that saying, guess so. As basically blitzing, going faster, using that of 25% of full cow, he soon basically runs into that of tons of, well, mana beast, realizing, just like before, that old man's using his game magic to create these monsters as a distraction, as he dodges out of several attacks before then sending that of several Air Force bullets into them. At the same time, he nearly hit that of Asta, who basically dodged out of the way saying, hey, what the hell? Before then realizing, Asta, is that you? With then saying, yeah, it's me, Izuku. Hey, I knew that was you when I sensed your ki. With then realizing, I guess you're still really good at that, better than I am. I only can barely use a good portion of it. With then saying, yeah, you'll get to it. Before then, seeing in the distance, several other of the mana beasts were basically killed as well. By one of the mages, a guy wearing that of a swordfish mask, saying, come on, Grandpa, what the hell? Can't you leave the small fry away from me and send them to my opponents instead? With then, he notices both Izuku and Asta, saying, oh, looks like I found my opponents all right. In 2 for 1. I think I like these odds. With the guy preparing that of his double-bladed swords, which look like a mix of fins and basically a unique style of metal, as the color of them are blue. With Asta preparing that of his Demon Slayer sword, and Izuku getting into a fighting stance, channeling at least a little bit more percentage of One for All full cow into that of 27%. As the battle between these three is about to begin, with Asta rushing in alongside Izuku, as the guy with the twin swords also saying, this is definitely going to be fun, outside of their fight for a bit, as all the other Black Bull members, such as that of Luck and Magna, make it to the center and see that of one of the strongest of the Underwater Temple mages, the son of the High Priest, Yi, and the guy uses water creation magic just like that of Noel, as he's pushing back both Magna and Luck without even breaking a sweat. For Charmy, she was already eliminated too, mainly because of being put to sleep by, well, surprisingly, Koharu, who is a resident of the Underwater Temple all along, with Noelle, who now has to fight against her newly minted friend, basically is thinking that she was basically manipulating her or basically betraying her, but in fact that's far from the case. If anything, she's grateful that she met that of Noelle, Asta, and Izuku. But if she loses this match, her grandfather, the High Priest, would never let her and her brother leave that of the temple to descend to the surface, for her dream to be an idol after all. So she has to win and beat Noelle. But hopefully after this fight, they could still be friends, as the fight between the two begin as well. As for Yami, currently with that of the High Priest, within saying, looks like everything's going pretty well for that of us Black Bulls, honestly. And not to mention, looking at that of one of the, viewing screens, spatial screens, as it's showing that of Vanessa basically defeating her opponent with her threat magic pretty easily. Especially usually since she's always either too drunk or hungover to basically do any jobs properly. With him realizing, damn, everybody's in rare form today. If I knew this, I would have bet even more money actually. But then, for some reason, he hears out of a nagging voice from that of Izuku in his head, basically freaking out about this, realizing, as much as I like to mess with the broccoli boy, I think it's best if I don't try and, well, get too greedy. At least for now. With the High Priest Gefu basically surprised, saying, I can't believe this. You said that many of them were basically junior magic knights. With saying, rank junior magic knights. One of them is basically intermediate magic knight, actually. But if I'm going to be honest, I think his rank, I think maybe his power and strength may be on that of a vice captain level, to be honest. When he stops holding back, at least, I think he might be on that of captain level. With then hearing that, Geto going, "Ah, are you serious?" Before then saying, "It's just an opinion, nothing more." Yeah, and an observation. But still, as Yami getting serious this time, you should probably hand over the stone now before it's too late. Just to let you know, we've only came down here to prevent a bunch of, well, rogue-ass mages called the Eye of the Midnight Sun from stealing it from you guys. I'm not saying this to be arrogant, well, not entirely, but just as a precaution, that's all, old man. With then, Gefu saying, I get it. I understand you magic knights are just looking out for the people of the cloak of us, even though we are underwater temple citizens. We are still part of the Clover Kingdom as well. But all the same, we still have our own pride as well. And don't worry, my son can finish this alongside that of my grandchildren as well. Back with that of Asta, Izuku, and their new opponent, otherwise known as Kaito. As the two Black Bulls members basically try and get that land a hit on that of Kaito. As his movements are quite erratic, but still flowing quite easily to dodge out of that of Asta's attacks, and even using that of his swords to basically knock Asta back, with Izuku taking the opportunity, trying to deal that of a powerful, drop axe kick, as it being his, New Hampshire smash, as Kaito dodges out of the way by flipping into the air, while Izuku's attack lands, it only basically, cracks out of the ground. However, he doesn't stop there, as then he uses that of Black Whip to grab him mid-air, with Kaito seeing this as he begins spinning around and basically attacking that of many of the black tendrils, before then landing back on his feet, before dodging that of another attack. Before then, he couldn't help but huff and say, that was actually quite something. I almost nearly lost it there for a second. But then, Izuku realized he's pretty good, actually. Really good. But then, Asta going, yeah, honestly, it's pretty quick. And not to mention, it's annoying that I can't even hit him. But then, the guy continues spinning around, moving step by step. Before then, Izuku realized he's dancing. With Asta going, what? He's dancing. Before realizing, is Kaito going, so you realized it too. My magic is called dance magic. Basically, I'm able to move, as long as I move with the rhythm of my body, I'm able to dodge, maneuver, and basically avoid any attacks that you all sent to me. And the fact that you're not saying it, you also have offensive attacks as well, don't you? Saying, figure that out too. Well, not going to be wasting them just yet. And I'm having way too much fun yet to basically end it just here and now. Within, us saying, getting cocky. Within, Kaito saying, not necessarily. I'm just having way too much fun. Especially since I don't get that much chance to fight against people like you guys. You guys are awesome. Within, both Asta and Izuku couldn't help but basically blush at that of the compliment that they were getting from their opponent. Before then, Asta snapping out of it saying, wait, I can't take that a compliment from my enemy. Before then saying, all right, if I can't hit you, I'll also basically move and mimic as well your attacks too. With then, Izuku saying, Asta, you Before then, realizing he definitely is trying to dance like that of Kaito, catching Izuku completely off guard alongside that of the other, past users, with Bruce going, the third user, saying, he is an idiot. Like, really, really an idiot, isn't he? With then Kudo, the second user, going, definitely he is an idiot, Bruce. However, just wait. With then everybody shocked with that of, Kudo of all people, saying to wait. But as then Izuku stepping back for a bit, getting out of the line of fire, as he was about to prepare that of an Air Force, shot towards that of Kaito to prevent him from hitting that of Asta. That's when Asta, even though basically trying to mimic how to dance, dodges out of the way perfectly, completely catching both Kaito and Izuku off guard. Within him basically sending his anti-magic sword towards him, with Kaito dodging out of the way, with Kaito going for another spin slash. Within, once again, Asta mimicking that of Kaito's movements and dodges out of the way again, even though it's not too, profound. It shows on how good he is with, coming up on strategies on the fly. With Izuku shocked by that, saying, did he? Before then, Kudo commenting, going, he's just like you, Izuku. He learns from that of his opponents and his allies alike, just as you take a lot of inspiration from your classmates, and even that of All Might as well. Asta skilled as well with learning tactics on the battlefield on the fly. And besides, even though it's a little bit crude and not as polished, his body makes up for it, given his huge inhuman speed. Even for somebody with no magic or quirk, he's truly capable. Within hearing that, Izuku saying, that's why Asta's really amazing. He's somebody I can't help but admire so much. He and alongside everybody else in the Black Bulls as well. Before then, Izuku, having that to a serious look, is then channeling, going over that of 30% of One For All Full Cow, as he soon rushes into the fray as well, cracking the ground as he moving so quickly that it almost looks like nobody can see him. However, both Asta and Kaito can see Izuku, even though he's moving quite quickly. But however, as soon as he goes for that of a kick for that of Kaito, he soon basically spin mid-air, taking the lessons he learned from Mina during the culture festival and dancing, before then going for that of a Wyoming smash! A spinning roundhouse kick mid-air, basically knocking Kaito back as he blocks that of the attack with his swords, causing him to basically, chip at least a little bit off of it. And Kaito having to land back on his feet, but still almost stumbling for a bit, with realizing, whoa, that was something else. With Izuku landing back on his feet, but still keeping up his movements and rhythm, remembering everything that Mina has taught him, with Asta going, holy crap, that was awesome, Izuku! Where did you learn that? Within, as Izuku could still continue his movement, saying, from a friend, a really good friend. But I won't lie, she's also a bit of a taskmaster as well. With then, hearing that, Asta saying, hey, I ain't complaining. With then, as Asta basically keeping his movements and rhythm going too. Within, Kaito couldn't help but say, and finally remove his mask, looking at that of Izuku, saying, hey, what's your name? With saying, Izuku Midoriya, saying, hey, all right, Izuku, tell me, where did you learn those moves? I've never seen dance moves and rhythm like that before. Before then saying, I learned it from a friend. It's called breakdancing, actually. Within, Kaito saying, breakdancing? Oh man, that sounds awesome. Hey, maybe when this is all over, you could teach me a few moves. Saying, really? I mean, I'm not that good. I only know a bit of the basics, so... Within, saying, come on, Even if a little bit of basics, I can add my own stuff to it afterwards. Come on, you gotta show me a bit. But before then, as preparing his blades once again, while getting back in rhythm, saying, I gotta go all out as well, as he finally brings out that of his grimoire, as the pages begin to fly, saying, I'll show you what I'm capable of, Budo magic. As the two were basically getting ready to fight, and as Kaito was about to say his spell, that's when a shaking begins happening across that of the, battle labyrinth, with soon Izuku feeling danger sense, as he feel alongside that of his sensing magic, with then realizing, holy crap, what the hell was that? With then us looking at Izuku saying, Izuku? You okay? Saying, something's here. Dangerous. Powerful. At that very moment, that's when Yami soon spoke up saying, yo, everyone, listen up. We got a big problem here. Turns out the Eye of the Midnight Sun had finally arrived. And one of them being their highest ranking members. The guy with the big muscly hairy guy. Within, Asta hearing that saying, wait, that guy? But soon, Izuku saying, Asta? Saying, I know that guy. You weren't there, but he was one of the high-ranking mages of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. He even went toe-to-toe with that of Captain Yami. Within, hearing that, Asta saying, you're joking. No, I'm not. Realizing their opponent is really that strong, Izuku was a little bit worried. However, he realized if the Eye of the Midnight Sun are here, they're here for the magic stone. So I think it's about time that we stop with this little game, and take down that of those bastards. Within, the High Priest saying, how about we change up the game for a bit? Under Temple Mages and Magic Knights. For now on, this will be a full-on team mage battle against that of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, changing the roster and numbers and switching them from that of the Eye of the Midnight Suns with that of the, Black Bulls and Underwater Temple Mages being worked now in that of a team as well. With everybody hearing this, like Noelle and Koharu, Finral, who's basically been wandering around and hiding like a bitch, Ghosh, who's basically annoyed the fact that he has to do this, Vanessa, who literally was started drinking but now putting the bottle down, realizing the situation, Gray, who's no longer in that of her, transformation forms, but now in her normal form, but basically now terrified, and Charmy, who is still basically sleeping, like not even having a care in the world after all. With Yami basically coming in with everybody else saying that this is a do or die mission. Gotta go serious. Take care of the big guy and that of his grunts. And he even tells them if you guys die out there, he's gonna kill them himself. Within, hearing that, that's when Yoichi basically saying, I never understood that phrase, even while I was still alive, if I'm gonna be honest. It's so contradictory. With then, Banjo going, now's not the time first. Within, trying to get that of Izuku's attention. However, Izuku's too focused on that of Asta, who looks basically terrified. Within, as Izuku worried about his friend, one of the very first few friends he made in this world, saying, Asta, are you? Before then, slapping his cheeks over and over and over again, saying, all right, let's do this. I'm ready. Let's go take out that bastard right here and now. Within, Izuku caught off guard by that, saying, whoa, that was overwhelming and crazy. And before then, going, I'm guessing you were kind of scared, weren't you, Asta? Saying, yeah, but that's the best part about it. Getting scared and still running into that of overwhelming odds, proving on how strong you are. After all, just as you told me, you know, I gotta get results if I want to become Wizard King. Within hearing all that, saying, I guess so. Before that, soon, Kaito going, you guys are something else. Within saying, all right, let me help you guys out. But once this is all over, you and me, Asta, Izuku, teach me on how you dance like that, saying, I said I'm not that good at it, but I'll try. But Asta going, yeah, let's do this! As they rush forward through the dungeon with Izuku using his sensing magic, as he could feel it, the overwhelming aura and pressure coming from the center, feeling like a huge amount of animals, like the entire animal kingdom fueled by rage and hatred. What he really feels the most is despair. So much despair that it feels absolutely wrong. Within, that's when Nana spoke up saying, Izuku, if this is one of those high-ranking members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun that you missed out on because of your training, that you may need to go all out on this. But if you can't handle it, there is no wrong with basically retreating, saying, I thank you for your courtesy, Miss Nana, but that's not who I am. As seeing that of Asta right in front of him, alongside that of Kaito, saying, they're not running away. They're standing their ground too. I'm not running either. And besides, there are two people also fighting him as well. As he's sensing that of Magna and Luck in the distance. Magna's heated fire magic and Luck's overwhelming lightning magic too. If those two are even fighting somebody like him, then he needs to fight too. He needs to prove himself that he is worthy of the Black Bulls, that he isn't just somebody who's just given this amazing power, but he needs to earn having it. No matter what, I am not running, even if I am going into that of my death. I am not holding anything back, here and now. Within hearing these words from that of Asta, that's when Kudo's saying, best not to continue pushing it, 7th. We all know how this boy is after all. This is the same boy who has plans on coming back to our world to save your grandson, after all. There's nothing's gonna stop him. Within hearing that, Nana saying, fine, but remember what I said, Izuku. There's nothing wrong with retreating to recover your strength and fighting another day. Remember that. Saying, I know, I'm aware. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna not try. Before then, feeling that of a blast of both lightning and fire magic coming through that of the corridors that both Izuku, Asta, and Kaito were basically in. As they could feel this huge amount of power, even Asta, who can't even sense mana, can basically feel the power as well. Within, soon, Izuku, alongside Asta, rush in, with Asta going, Magna! With Izuku screaming, look! As the two standing in front of Vento, as they use that of a combined spell, that being their very first combined spell together, called Fire Lightning Explosive Cannon, at point blank range, a spell that literally felt like on the level of a captain level attack mana blast. However, it didn't even leave a scratch on him even when at point blank range, causing both Luck and Magna to pass out onto the ground, leaving the two completely and utterly shocked. Within, as Asta realizing, no way in hell, with Izuku worried, Magna, look, no! With now seeing that of the man known as Vento, basically a massive hulking man with tons of hair across his body, with long blonde hair, sharp teeth, and what also stands out the most is that of the, red eye tattoo on his forehead. However, for some reason, the eye almost looks like it's real. As he screams out, see, even with all your might, all the power you have, it meant nothing. This is what it feels. This is what it means to have despair. With both Asta and Izuku gritting their teeth in frustration, seeing the hard work of that of their seniors, basically beaten in front of them after giving it their all, with Asta bringing out that of his Demon Slayer sword, and Izuku channeling 40% of One for All. But at the same time, switching out that of his, well, mana-sensing grimoire with that of Banjo's Shadow Magic Grimoire. Preparing to use that of Black Whip. But then soon, as for Yami, basically, instead of him being able to, well, get into the fray with everybody else, he's basically trapped with the Grand Priest in one of the the Midnight Suns members' spatial magic prison. However, seeing all this, and couldn't help but feel a little bit both in pride and also in, well, sadness at that of both what Luck and Magna were capable of, but still wasn't enough. Saying, and looking at that of Asta and Izuku saying, all right, kids, it's up to you two. Stand your ground, both of you. As this would be one of Asta and Izuku's toughest fights yet. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, what did you guys think? Sorry I didn't go fully into detail and everything just yet. I want to basically save the next part to be fully about that of Asta, Izuku, and the Black Bulls basically beating that Vento after all. So, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. At any rate, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep to date my videos upload to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my side channel, my other channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All link in the description below. And remember, if you guys want me to do that of a what if of you guys' choosing as a one-shot, please donate that of $5 or more for that of your what if of your choosing. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys. Hope you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other what if content and the most recent what ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other what ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mookie.